We have a brand new character request from you guys, and this time around we have DreamWorks Shrek as a guest character request from one of you guys. And I'm liking these different characters, all these different memories pop up, and just childhood memories from watching these movies and TV shows, and even shows and characters that I never even knew about, like Kappa Mikey, for example, that I recently talked about, Miko from Glitch Text that I still haven't watched. But I'm really enjoying shows like the Kappa Mikey that you can watch season 1 and 2 for free here on the website. So it's so much fun just talking about these characters. But I love Shrek. But before we get into anything, I wanted to wish everyone a good weekend, happy Easter, and maybe it's just a regular weekend for anyone out there that's probably just going to celebrate the Easter holiday. And you guys will probably won't be able to see this until Sunday or the day of Easter at some point. But I wanted to say I hope y'all have a good weekend. And I hope you guys have fun. If you guys choose to go out or whatever it is that you do and whatever you like to do to celebrate, I hope you guys have a good weekend. It might even just be a regular weekend to some people who not even choose to celebrate Easter. So everyone's different. Everyone celebrates different holidays. So I wanted to get that out there right quick before we dive into the ideas for this character request and the moveset for him. And maybe Shrek doesn't even have to come out alone. Maybe you can have these different characters like Donkey and Princess Fiona could be a part of his moveset. But we're going to get into that later. Let's open up this roster so everybody can see all the characters in the game. Does he even have a chance to get in this game? And I wanted to pose that question to some of you guys that's going to be checking this out at some point, and those who are interested in this character, or maybe you guys who love Shrek. I love the movies. And he also has some games too. I haven't played any other games, but I've seen all the movies. Raining. And if y'all got a favorite Shrek character, you guys can put that in the comments too if you want to. However it is you choose to react for this character request, and maybe some other requests that you guys have can be posted as well. Still have a lot to get to for all these different characters and the different ideas that they have and abilities. And they can get this roster can be so much better. They can add so many other characters from different universes. So it's all about Shrek today. So Shrek is a guest character. Can he make it into this game? Does he have a chance? Or maybe he's going to be in a different game. Who knows? And I'm curious to what you guys think about the movies, the characters, and maybe Shrek's abilities. But let's go ahead and get into it with his stages as usual. And I watched the movies, and the movies took place in this Fairytale land of Duloc. So that could be a map for a potential stage. But I went as far as immediately when I think of Shrek, I think about his homeland, Shrek Swamp. So that could be a playable stage for him to be able to come out with him in a bundled DLC or paid DLC at that. There's no way Shrek will be a free character in this game. But another additional stage that I could come up with outside of just expanding from his homeland, from the swamp, and the Fairytale land of Duloc in general could be the main location for a potential stage. I selected the Dragon's Keep. I had to get the name of the castle. I knew it was like a castle where he originally rescued Princess Fiona, and that's how he got really introduced to her. And it was a task that he was ordered to, even his mission and his objective was to rescue the princess from the castle, but little did he know it was a dragon that was going to be guarding the castle and lurking within the walls to try to stop him. But somehow Donkey was able to befriend the dragon, who really liked him. So it was really funny to see that. It's just one of my favorite memories from the Shrek movies. And why not at the Dragon's Keep and be able to fight inside the castle? It could be a little bit Zelda-like from the castles, the castle within Hyrule, the land of Hyrule for Zelda. They can get some kind of design ideas to be able to design the castle a little bit. And another map that comes to mind outside of the land of Hyrule or the Hyrule Castle from the interior design is the Samus map from Super Smash Bros. 64 with the lava and whatnot. That castle had lava inside of it. See what I'm saying? So that could be hazardous. The lava could be hazardous to the player, forcing the player to stay on the platforms and to try to use the recovery to avoid the lava. They can really implement that and design that for the stage, for Dragon's Keep, for Shrek. So I think I would really see that in the game, for whatever happens for a DLC for Shrek. He can have his own little world, and they can take that stage to be added from the movie itself if they can't get his homeland, his original home of Shrek Swamp. So those are the stages. Now I'm going to move on to the alternate costumes. And speaking, notice how I just finished talking about the castle. Shrek wore knight armor. He was supposed to be the knight in shiny armor to rescue the princess. The whole Fairytale story goes where a knight is supposed to slay the dragon and rescue the princess of the castle with a happily ever after for the whole Fairytale ending and all. So I selected Shrek's knight armor as paid DLC, but of course he probably wouldn't be able to use the sword, but they could still dress him up in his knight armor. So you have a knight, and see like this, like Shredder. See how his head armor? They can have that for Shrek, and just his body armor. But take away the sword, unless they could probably utilize the sword for a temporary attack for one of his moveset. But I didn't add the sword for my ideas. So he could still have his knight armor, but he doesn't even really need the sword. Or maybe it could be a pose that he can pose with in the winner circle in the winning animation when you win a match with him. He can have the sword, he can pose with it or something like that. But I didn't put that in as my idea, so I just put Shrek's knight armor without the sword itself with paid DLC. I still think people will buy the costume because it references the movie. It's one of the best. It's a more fitting alternate outfit in the costume that he can wear. Some other ideas I came up with: the color of his tunic can be changed. Who has green on? So just like Ninja Turtles, something like that. See how she still has some of her outfit. It can still be changed with the color. But I want to reference Korra for this. See how she has like a different color variation. It could be something similar to that for a different color design for him. For the different colors of tunics, maybe they can change it red, blue, or something like that. Where the player could be able to change the color of his tunic in different color variations. So that's something that I really came up with. I'm not sure what kind of colors can be added into it, but an additional DLC or paid DLC sort of skin, I selected Human Shrek when he drank the happily ever after potion from Shrek 2 in the movie. So I thought that would be more ideal. So if it's not his knight armor, and if it's not his knight armor or a different color tunic, the player could be able to play as the ogre. I am an ogre. Okay, I'm gonna get into that soon. But the player could play as the ogre version of Shrek and then the human version of Shrek, almost similar to how I did the different references of Goku for Dragon Ball Z. The player could be able to select between the different versions of Shrek and make that separate skin paid DLC. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to do these prices for these characters and what exactly are they going to come with, and just how much they'll be in total. But those are all I really came up with for his alternate costumes or alternate skins, if you want to call it like that. Call it that for paid DLC. But now it's time for taunts and animations. I was having trouble trying to figure out what kind of quotes that he said or what kind of quotes could be iconic. Shrek in his taunts, Shrek is coming out into this game, he needs a voice line. He would need a voice line. Can't have Shrek come out in the game and be all silent. He'll be even that great and much bigger of a purchase for DLC if he had voice lines and maybe one of the first characters to talk in this game. That'll be amazing. So even though they can do stuff like that, like even though some characters can't talk in the game and they're silent, they can slowly start coming out with these voice lines. So a character that's brand new or a brand new fighter, say Shrek, by some surprise and some chance, Shrek is the new fighter and our next fighter, and he's going to be one of the first characters to talk. That's going to make him that more unique and more special for people to purchase. But even outside of that, he needs to have voice lines to make him be able to react to different taunts and stuff like that. It'll be too plain. So it'll be cool to have him talk. So I came up with these little quotes. He says, interestingly in the movie, for Donkey, when he was invading his territory, he said, "What are you doing in my swamp?" And just something like that. And then Some other ones, I am an ogre, and then he can just roar. He can start roaring on the screen to try to scare the enemy away. So he just had different reactions like that. And then some other ones, he said, "I'll pound you into next week." So it's things like that. You see how it's just he's needed for voice lines are just so much more of an importance for some of these characters that are going to be from maybe outside of Nickelodeon or just from a different universe. These characters need to have voice lines to be able to make them even more special characters. And the voice lines themselves, I think, would fit his taunts. So that's really what I really came up with for some of the things for his taunts and animations of what could be implemented. I mean, he could probably crack his knuckles, something like that, while he's saying that. I'll pound you. He said, "I'll pound you into next week." He can do something like that, or maybe even if he's not going to be a character to talk yet, right away, right off the bat, he can just start waving, wave, just the way that he does in the movie, the way that the enemy try to tease him a little bit, and then when they're about to get launched off the screen before they explode, he can just wave them, bye, something like that. So that's all I can really come up with. So I really had some trouble with this, but it's like, how can I really come up with animations for a character that deserves a voice line, that deserves to have to speak or some kind of voice in this game to match his animations and his taunts? It's only natural for him to come out with a voice line at some point, maybe down the line when they can get it ready. But now it's time for the moveset. I had so much fun with this. It seems like he can have a good list of moves. And just watching the movies and seeing him fight from his ability, he can have some wrestling moves for his moveset. He can be a powerhouse. Yeah, he'll be a little bit slower he'll be a little bit slow, but he'll be able to pack a punch. And they can make him almost like the size of Shredder in this game. He's one of the biggest characters in here. Maybe the size of Shredder a little bit, around that size. So from when I was coming up and designing different sort of moveset ideas, I thought he could have some wrestling offensive moves to go with his power. So when he lands a hit, he could be able to do some serious damage. And some little goofy moves, and just to reference the show, just for starters, I call this one Deadly Gas, just to get started. So Shrek can use the hot gas within him, inside him, to pass on to the enemy and be able to inflict damage. So I thought this would be really cool and a funny move. And it makes me think of Wario. I was thinking about Wario from Super Smash Bros. Because he has like a gastrous sort of attack, and it can do some serious damage. But the difference between Shrek and Wario, Shrek is going to be able to charge his up. So when a player holds down a certain button mechanic, however they design it, they can design it how he can be able to charge it up, charge up his deadly gas. He could be able to let it out quicker. So a quick little fart attack or something like that. Just to do damage on the opponent. But when he's fully charged up and he has all the gas within him, he's going to be able to explode and just be able to hit multiple enemies within the same blast radius. So the bigger the charge, the longer the charge, the bigger the blast radius, and it's also going to inflict more damage. So that's how I came up with that. So I was really thinking about Wario for this sort of this attack, and he uses his gas in the movies, or he's in the mud bath or whatever. At some point in the movie, he uses this during the whole little series in general. So I thought this would be a good attack. Why not have him not have some kind of deadly gas attack that's similar to Wario's. The next move that I came up with was a spinning Lariat, and he had like a spinning clothesline. So I put spinning Lariat, or maybe they can call it a spinning clothesline. So almost similar to how Zangief from Street Fighter, he has like a spinning Lariat. He can have something like that of his own. So Shrek can stretch his arms out, and he'll be able to clench his fist and just be able to spin around and hit nearby enemies. So it could be a good move for crowd control. So say you got two people on you, you do like threes, up to a 3-player or 4-player maximum, or maybe 8 players if it comes to that. He can use his spinning clothesline to be able to launch those enemies and handle all of them to get some good separation and recover. Maybe you have to change location on the stage. This spinning Lariat and spinning clothesline could be really handy. And a little bit of a Mario reference. I thought this would be pretty cool for him, first for his size. I came up with a ground pound move that he can use in midair. So Shrek can use this move in midair, and he can be slamming. He can slam his butt on the ground, but I just need to put it. He can slam his butt and crush you with his booty, and just be like smash you into the ground. So it'll be a cool little move. No one in this game has a ground pound. Let's try to look at the roster. No one on this roster has a ground pound move, but they have diving attacks or any sort of down special. And Shredder was diving into the ground to charge up. This ground pound is going to be unique. He could be the first character with an actual ground pound move to be able to slam onto the opponent into the midair. So I came up with that. Now some light attacks for a punch combo. And he can do like a series of 2 little punches or jabs into a double axe handle strong attack that can potentially launch the enemy across the screen and knock him away. And if you guys seen WWE and some of these wrestling sort of moves, the double axe handle, it'll be a really powerful strong attack that can be a good finisher from a 3-hit combo for Shrek. So that's how I came up with that as a cool little move that he can have. And if it's not a double axe handle, he can just do like a super punch or something like that to be able to knock him away to complete the combo. Why not a projectile? Use the mud from his homeland. Then he can be able to throw mud. He have his projectile. Shrek does not need a projectile attack. I don't think he needs one. He doesn't need to have one, but I threw one in there anyway, just for him to have an extra move. So I put mud throw. So Shrek can throw mud at the enemy as a projectile. And I thought of this as a nice little tribute to his homeland from the swamp. And I think this would be really awesome to see. But just again, he doesn't need to have a projectile attack. He's going to be a powerhouse with all these different moves and wrestling abilities, I think. And just like this one, for example, body press, I came up with this one where Shrek can be able to grab the enemy up high and the player can choose wherever he or she wants to throw the enemy, whether it's the left, right, up, down, just anywhere that they choose to. But he can have double hands, just like pressing them with a body press, similar to how these wrestlers do, and they hold their opponents up in the air, and then they can be able to toss them and drop them down. It'll be a cool little attack for him. So I put a body press. And almost wrapping up here, I came up with a cannonball. So this could be a running attack. See how all these characters, when they all have their unique running attack. But Shrek can actually run. See what I'm saying? So he'll be able to sprint. That'll make him even more unique. He'll have a unique sprint across and a running attack. So when he runs across the screen, he'll be able to use a cannonball to be able to transform his body into a ball form and roll quickly to attack the opponent and knock him away. It'll be a cool little move that they can use. So once you grab it, it's like if you're playing on a big stage or something like that, you can use the cannonball to be able to launch him. And I was having some trouble trying to think of a recovery move. This is his final move that I could come up with. But just to reference the movie, remember how Donkey said Donkey was flying for a few seconds, and it was because of the fairy dust. He said, "You ain't never seen a donkey fly." And Eddie Murphy was playing them. It's such a great movie. I love this movie series. But I came up with Flying Ogre. So it didn't happen to Shrek. At least I don't think it did. It happened to Donkey. So I thought this fairy dust could be implemented into his ability for recovery. Instead of having just doing like this little, just random power move to get on the stage. The fairy dust, the fairies or the powers of the fairy dust can be used for Shrek from the movie itself. The same way how I allowed Donkey to fly for a few seconds, it could be used to help Shrek get back into the stage or get back onto any stage to recover. So he can use the power of the fairies and the fairy dust from the movie to be able to recover. And he'll be able to stay in the air for a few seconds. But that's why I thought this would be a unique move, because it also references that particular scene, which is one of the best scenes from the Shrek movie series. Why not have that added into him for Shrek for a recovery move to be able to save him from to break his fall and to be able to recover. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about these different ideas and the moveset. So I think this is I'm really happy with this moveset that I came up with, and I think this could be really perfect for Shrek. But just like I said earlier, he needs to have voice lines, and I think it'll be awesome for them, the developers, to surprise us for, even if their voice lines don't all come out at once, come out with them slowly, and bring out a brand new character that can talk. And I know this game doesn't have, it's not even related to Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. Dead by Daylight, they have Ashley Williams from the Evil Dead series, and he's the only survivor that can talk in the actual game. See what I'm saying? So they could do something like that for Shrek. But let me know what you guys think.